Hello.
Hello.
Hi, it's Regina. Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
Yeah, that's actually shift 15.
Miss- It's
We
you,
have a
Miss
couple of
Andrews?
people. Yes, it is.
Okay.
You
Yeah, I
on
had
the
to call
line,
in.
Regina? I mean, on
Yeah,
the phone?
I'm on the phone. I had to call in because I didn't make it back home, so I'm just gonna sit in this parking lot for the 30 minutes.
Okay. Right.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give everybody. It's supposed to start at 6:15, so I'll give everybody like 3 minutes to see if a couple more people will join. So we're looking for somebody else to join. Let me get my phone.
Okay. I only have 34% on this phone, but if I may have to hang it up if it goes a little too long, and then I'll just call back on my other phone.
Greg. Hi, Dorothy.
Hello.
How y'all doing? It seemed
Okay.
like it was a long time since I seen you guys. Except for Greg.
Yeah, man. Couple months, man.
And Regina. But
Hi.
we're back.
Hi, Miss Dorothy.
Hello.
How you doing today?
Okay. How are you?
Oh, good, good. And thank you. I'm okay. Thanks.
Regina, are you prepared to record?
Am I what?
Prepared to record?
Yeah, that's why I'm using this phone because the other phone I can record.
Is there a way we can record this meeting, audio, video?
But
I never see
these don't these meetings go up on YouTube? I know the community board does.
Yes, they usually send us a copy of it. Yes, you're right. I can probably get a copy from Julia. Yeah. Okay. Because we have somebody on the agenda from to talk about the Ralph Lincoln Gardens, and I don't see her here yet. Unless it's, somebody's on the phone. Dominica Roberts, is she around? Dominica Roberts, are you on the phone? No. No. We're gonna get started next minute. Just want to let everybody know want to thank Virginia for accepting to be the recording secretary for the Parks Committee. It's a big a plus for me because Parks are busy and trying to catch up with the minutes all the time. So she agreed to do it, and thank you so much. I know you're a person that's busy and you're doing your own mission. So I really thank you so much for agreeing to do this. All right. So we're going to call the meeting to order, and it is now 6:19. So we can get started with and I already said the welcome. I haven't done. I didn't get to send it to you guys, but it's gonna work this time. Okay. And wanted to welcome everybody back from the summer. I hope everybody had a good, pleasant summer. We had a lot of challenges still going on with our situation, but hopefully everybody are doing well. I just came back from Las Vegas yesterday, so I'm still on the roller. I'm still trying to work those machines and stuff, but I'm back and trying to hit the ground running. So with that being said, I do not have the minutes for June. Sorry about that. I know it's been a couple months, but I have to dig them up, and I couldn't find the recording for it, so I got to see what little notes that I have. to gather that up. And I will promise we'll have that for you guys. We do we're gonna, the next thing on the agenda is to talk about the park's vision, purpose, and goals. Greg and I, and just to let you know, Greg is the assistant committee, co-chair for the parks. So when I'm not available, or when, you know, if he wants to do it, you know, he will be the next person in charge. When you can't reach out to me, please reach out to Greg and see if you can find any information you need about the parks committee. So those are the two
If you
things.
like, I can put my phone number in the chat.
And Greg is the assistant co-chair, or co-chair along with me, not the assistant, he's the co-chair. Okay. All right.
When did that happen?
Oh, he's been there co-chair for a while. We just haven't I haven't said it because we needed somebody that was on the community board 8 at the time when it was decided that he was the co-chair. Okay.
That happened before we reconvened, before we convened for the summer.
It's been over a year or something. So, right, Greg? It's been like 2 years that you've been backing up for me. So.
Okay, so is he here tonight?
Yeah, Greg is here.
Okay. Well,
I got notified by Julia, I think, about a month ago.
He's officially, but he's always been the backup person for me when I'm this has been going on for a little while, but it's officially done over a month ago. Okay.
Yeah, I put my phone number in the chat if anyone wants it.
Okay.
Okay, so who else is in attendance tonight so far?
Oh, I see Miss Roberts is here. Okay. So we
Who's Miss
have
Roberts?
yes, Domika Roberts. She's from Brooklyn, Queens. Land. What's that? Land. I can't even get the thing. Miss Roberts.
How you spell her name? I know Roberts, but what's her first name?
Domica. BQLT.
D. Her name begins with a D as in David.
D as in David. Omica. Okay. And she's
Oh,
here to talk about.
Domika.
Yeah. So
okay. Who else is in attendance?
Dorothy is here. Dorothy Brimbray Hewitt.
I have Miss Dorothy.
Kim Robertson.
M. Robertson.
Marva Henry.
Who?
Marva.
Oh, Marva Henry. Okay.
Yes.
These are
we have committee members. I have Mary Daly.
Mary, how do you spell Daly?
D-A-L-Y. We're doing this because she's on the phone and she's the recording secretary, so she can't really see. So I'm telling her the information. Okay.
So that's D-A-L-E-Y?
D-A-L-Y.
Oh, D-A-L-Y.
Yes. And we have somebody say Sophia. Sophia, can you give us her last name?
Yes, hi, I'm just a community member. My last name is Benz, B-E-N-Z.
What's her name? What's her first name?
Sophia.
Sure, I can put it in the chat.
Sophia, what's the last name?
B-E-N-Z, as in zebra?
Yes.
Right?
Spell her last name for me, please.
B-E-N-Z.
B-E-M-Z or N-Z?
N as in Nancy. Benz.
Okay, like Mercedes.
I like the car.
Okay.
You got the expensive stuff. And then we have another person on the phone that can you identify yourself? Who's calling in besides
Geraldine Buchanan.
Okay, Jerry. That's Jerry Buchanan.
Yes.
Jerry, is that G-E-R?
G-E-R-R-I.
Yes.
Buchanan. Okay. So now we have Miss Roberts.
Myself.
Right. I have you too, Miss Andrews. Did you say Miss Roberts is a board member or is she?
No. She's going to report about Miss Roberts. Can you unmute yourself and just tell them where you are from? So you can.
Ms. Roberts wrote in the chat that she's having connectivity issues.
Okay. Oh, wow.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you now.
Yes.
Sorry, the computer is freezing a little bit. So I've been trying to unmute for a minute now.
Okay,
I'm the program manager for the Brooklyn Queens Land Trust.
land trust. That's what it is, land trust. And she's going to talk about the Ralph Lincoln card. She will give us an update. Okay.
Okay.
I'm going to come back to the park's vision and purpose and goals, but that's something we're going to further. And I'm going to put Ms. Roberts up now to give us an update on the Ralph Lincoln Gardens project. Ms. Roberts, you're on.
Hi, everybody. My name is Tamika Roberts. Again, I'm the program manager for the Brooklyn Queens Land Trust. For anyone that is not familiar, we're a nonprofit that works on land conservation in Brooklyn and Queens. We preserve community gardens in perpetuity to be used as open green space so that they're not developed on. They don't face the same risk as normal city gardens because we own the deeds to our gardens. And since they're privately owned, they can't randomly be put up for development. We've been working with Ralph Lincoln for a while now, not really making a lot of progress. And I do want to first and foremost thank the community board for connecting us with the precinct, the NCOs, so we were able to make a lot of progress really quickly with their mediation. We are now forming a relationship with the regular garden group that's there, instead of the mix of people we've been coming across over the last few months. We were able to take down the structure finally in the garden, and clean out the back area and clean out any debris and non-garden related materials from the back. Moving forward, we're hoping to get soil delivered within the next few weeks from the soil bank connected with the mayor's office, to level out the back of the garden. We have lumber in queue for delivery to that garden for building new beds to replace the ones that they dismantled earlier last year. We have plans to build a compost system since they showed interest in composting, and establishing their governance, so that we have a better working relationship between the organization and the garden group there. There isn't a specific date set for the soil delivery, but that's the first step that we want to take so we level out the back before bringing in more materials. And for building the beds and spreading the soil, spreading wood chips in the future, we would appreciate if we partnered with the community board once again to bring volunteers into the space for help with these projects, if that's possible. And we'll let you know when those dates are scheduled for these work days. For now, they will probably regularly be on Saturdays in the mornings, but if they change the dates, we'll let you know.
Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay. Anybody have any questions for Ms. Roberts?
Yeah, Ms. Roberts? Yeah, my
Yes.
name is Greg Todd, and I'm been associated with the Monty Garden, which is a NYRP and also Green Thumb. And I took a ride by the garden on Saturday afternoon. I took a minute to find it because it's not on the corner of Ralph and Lincoln. It's actually on what is it? St. John's and Ralph, I believe, right?
And
Yeah.
Ralph, yeah, Jonathan.
Yeah. So, but I guess it was formally set up by our former board chair, Bob Matthews, when he was at the Ralph Lincoln
Yes,
Service
yes,
Center,
it was
right?
originally
So
that
that's the history, and
Ralph.
hence the name Ralph Lincoln. But just the garden itself is actually on Ralph and St. John's, right? But anyway, I rode by Saturday, and It looked to me like, 5 or 6 people sitting out on the sidewalk with a card table. Um, I'm wondering, what's the history here? Has there been like a impromptu group of people meeting there? And could you tell me a bit more about
Yeah. So, well, I came on board BQLT in 2017 in the later half of the season. Um, and, well, I guess to back up a bit, our relationship with our gardens is very pulled back because we only have one staff member, which is myself. So our capacity is very limited in managing each garden day to day's activities. We try and keep the relationship with each garden by having representatives for each space. Two of them that I'm in regular communication with so that we know what's going on at the garden. And if they need things, if there are any damages, anything that we need to take care of. And so we did have representatives at this space for until 2019 when they stepped down, the end of the season in 2019. And we plan to visit the group in 2020 to reestablish that governance. Ideally, the reps would be communicating with their garden groups on any information we give them and vice versa, informing them about EQLT. So if there is turnover where new reps are elected, they know about the relationship with EQLT. Unfortunately, in this garden, that didn't happen because the group, part of the difficulty was that they didn't know about BQLT. They weren't aware. So they're very abrasive about a new group of people coming in and suddenly talking to them about what's allowed and what's not allowed, especially because there was a year where there was no rep for that garden. And so we didn't have a relationship with the garden group in the way that we do with our other garden groups, where they're all aware of BQLT, all of the rules, and things like that. And each garden functions slightly differently based on the culture of people that cultivate there. So the people that are in this garden in particular, after speaking to them more recently about some of these things that are atypical about how they function, where people tend to sit out in front of the garden. They were saying it is basically a spot where people come to spend their time leisurely in the day, to play dominoes, to hang out. And part of the reason why they're outside in front of the garden instead of in the garden is because the ground is flat. In front of the garden, there's a lot of space. And in the garden, there isn't like a flat surface for them to have all the chairs and tables. In other sitting gardens, you may see more furniture in the back where people are sitting and gathering in that way for leisure gardens and versus growing gardens. It's just in this case, they happen to be doing that in front of the garden, so it looks like loitering more than a community garden group. We're part of our us trying to reestablish that relationship is to explain to them these things, to talk through these, I guess, concerns that would come up and the image it sets up for the community, how it can appear unwelcome and that kind of stuff.
Yeah, no, I appreciate it as I've been working with the Amani Garden for 14 years, and I know all the, every community has its own ideas of what gardening is and how to do it. So I just wasn't sure if that group in front of the garden was affiliated with the garden. So I didn't want to get involved in a difficult situation, not knowing if those were the gardeners or just some other people. But now that I know that they are the gardeners, I'll be happy to talk with them. And I would love to have somebody from the Amani Gardens come over and help them if they want some help in terms of setting up their beds or whatever other help we can offer them. Um, So thanks for that clarification.
Thank you so much.
Okay.
Question for Ms. Roberts, if it's okay, Ms. Andrews.
Sure, go ahead.
I want to thank you, number one, for assisting and really doing what you're doing over there at the garden. But I know a number of things do go on that block, and the block also at least it used to have a homeless shelter. And I know in the past with the garden, the person in charge used to encourage the children from the shelter to get involved, and they would have certain activities that went on within the garden and performances, and he was involved in the garden. I'm wondering if that's still taking place.
Like events?
Yes, and they would encourage them to get involved in the community and with the garden and help out with the garden. The garden was open to the children in those homeless, and I think it's a homeless shelter there on the block.
Yes. They currently, because they don't really have growing space, they have been experimenting in different ways. And there are children that do still visit the garden, even though it's not currently typically in use. From what I understand, at this time, mostly the children come to borrow the bikes that are housed in the garden to bike around the block. But we're hoping to, after we revitalize the space a bit and install some key community encouraging features like a gazebo potentially, or a platform, that we can continue to have events there and bring more community aspects, to bring more children in and bring more of the people from the shelters in, so they have a place to use.
So was it 2 gardens on that block or just yours?
There are 2 gardens, and I'm glad that you mentioned that. I meant to bring that up also. The garden that's a couple doors down is called the St. John's Family Center Community Garden. It was affiliated with the St. John's Family Center right next door at 1630 St. John's Place. The garden's address is 1642 St. John's Place. Over the last year, I was informed by the previous rep there, who was, or I'm assuming still is, the executive director at the center, that they had turnover in their leadership or administration recently, and that management no longer wants to be affiliated with the garden. So we essentially lost our garden group this past year for that garden as well. We were discussing different ways we can collaborate between the 2 different gardens, but at this time there's no garden group there. So we're hoping to bring people into that garden space, since it has a lot more growing space, a lot more sun, and it already has a platform or a stage. And we
Right.
So you do have that second one in your possession too, but you just don't need to revamp that and start with some regrouping of that garden committee and everything.
Yeah, we haven't started the community building there yet, since we are working on Ralph Lincoln at this time.
Okay, I didn't even realize there was the second one. But you realize, Regina, we did have pre-meetings, Regina, and they did talk about having programs for the children and all kind of programs. We'll come back to that, but you have to understand the garden probably will have to be closed for a certain period of time while they're doing renovation and stuff. So you may not have access for a while. They'll let us know once we get to that point. But it's going to be a certain time where that garden is going to be closed to everyone, because it's not going to be safe, because they're going to be working to renovate it. So in the meantime, I guess they're still doing whatever is available for them to do, and it needs to be in a better shape for the children to meet, so they can really, offer the programs for the children like they need to.
Well, wonderful. Yeah, that's just my own concern, is that it continues to have it open to the children on that block, because they really did participate before. Now, once COVID came in, I didn't know what was going on down there with the garden. I know SOS is on that block as well. At least they were.
Okay. All right. So any more
Ju-
questions
Just,
for Ms. Robinson?
yeah, D'Amica, could you just help me elucidate what were the two addresses so that we have it in the record of these respective gardens? What is the addresses?
Ms. Buchanan,
Sorry.
you say 1630 St. John. That's the other one. So what's the address for the
1630.
Ralph Lincoln?
Ralph Lincoln is 1654 St. John's Place, and St. John's Place Family Center Garden is 1642.
1654 is
Oh,
the Ralph Lincoln.
1642.
16, what was it? 1630 and
1642 is the garden's address. 1630 is the family center itself.
oh, I see. The garden is 1642. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And the other one,
1654 for
1654,
Ralph.
is the Ralph Lincoln.
Okay.
All right, very good. I just it's kind of
Okay, so
confusing.
keep your every so often, Ms. Robbins, we're gonna bring you back to the committee meetings to, or someone from your organization to give us more updates. We're gonna Greg and I probably be attending some of those meetings, but you know we want to bring you, and of course when you do the design, you're gonna have to let us see a part of what how it's gonna look in the final stage, so we can get the community can get an idea of how it's gonna look. So
Hello.
thank you so much. As a short notice,
Hello.
also as she appeared. Hello.
Hello.
Who's speaking? Miss Boyd, that's you.
Julia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Miss Julia, you're here.
I
So
finally
Miss.
got. I've been doing. Yeah,
Okay.
I've got to learn how to do this mess. This phone, I don't know
Okay.
how
No,
to do it.
you're here now, so you're good. So
Yes.
Miss Kenzie, you put Miss Boyd on. I see a fourth
I'm Miss
person
Blake.
online. Can they the person who didn't say who was at the meeting? Can you say your name, please?
My name is Michelle Morris, if you can hear me.
Michelle, what's the last name?
Morris, like the cat.
Morris. Michelle Morris on Virginia. Add her name and
I
Miss
have
Boyd.
I have her and Miss Boyd.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Hi, Regina.
Okay.
Hey, Miss Boyd.
Yeah, we're gonna move forward, Miss Boyd. We got a lot of things to talk about right now, so I want to make sure I get it all in. Okay, so St. John Recreation Center. I spoke to Miss Donna Allgood from St. John Recreation Center, and we usually have them come to the meeting to update us on what's going on with St. John. She wasn't available because it was short notice, so she said she planned to be at the next meeting. But she did give me some updates about what's going on with St. John. As of September 13th, the center is now open with limited activities offered. Okay, so one of the two of the things that they are offering is that the weight room and the cardio room is available with the CDT rules and all that. Wearing a mask, I guess you have to do all that. But those two rooms are available. But the pool is closed, of course. They can't have that right now until this whole, guidance of the water and sharing the pool goes, to a different direction. So now you cannot get into the pool. But the good news is that if you want to join, you want to be a member of St. John, you can have free membership for a full year as long as you join up to they have up to December 31st this year. So just like they were saying, if you're not really that active but you want to join, wait until maybe like the end of December and join, and it's free until next year in December. So it's free, but you must have at least one vaccination shot, proof of one vaccination shot. Okay, otherwise if you didn't have the shot, then I'm sorry, just those are the rules that they have. Okay, so that's good news. So if you want to, join the St. John, some of the stuff is limited now. They do have some other classes that they still are offering outside, which is the Zumba class, the basketball, the pickleball, and the paddleball is still outside activities you can still participate in right now. And then until further notice, then they'll bring it inside once they get the okay to do that. They have they're working on a project now because They had the spin room on the third floor. They had a leakage from the ceiling, and so the roof had to be repaired, and the floor has to be repaired because of water damage. I'm assuming this is happening because of the storm that we had. So that room is closed until that project is completed, and the updates are done on that. Okay. The drop-in after-school program will start on Monday, September 20th, 2021, for ages 6 to 13. So spread the word on that too, that people who want to have their children in the after-school program, it's a drop-in. What they call drop-in now, it's like, it's not official, like you sign up for the year. If you want your child to come in for the drop-in that day, you just make sure you make arrangements for them to come in. If they don't come the next day or whatever, then it's just in and out, and you just sign it, the child gets signed in, and then the parents pick them up. So it's some type of procedure that they do, and they call it like drop-in. So they make it like open to everybody. Those are children ages from 13 to 6 to 13. Okay. And the next thing I need to talk about, the senior programs there is not available now. They don't have any senior programs now open, but the first week in October, they will start the quoting program for the seniors, and she planned like the first weekend, sometime the first week in October, they will have that available for seniors. Okay.
What kind of program is that? The first week in October?
Quoting for the seniors. Like making blankets, quoting.
Yes, I just didn't hear it clear.
Okay. All right. So, if you have any inquiries about it, you can raise a question. I can get back to them. Anybody have any other questions or comments about?
Hi, I have a question.
Yes.
This is Kim Robinson. I have a question. Anything about the pool?
No, the pool is closed. I said that's closed.
Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Okay.
Yes, the pool is closed until further notice.
Thank you.
The only two
Yeah.
things they have in there is the weight room and the cardio room. Those are only two working, available, in the gym right now.
Okay,
Everything
great.
else is either they're outside or they're just not available at the moment. The Zumba class, what did I say? The Zumba class, the pickleball, and the paddleball and basketball are still being offered outside of the building. Okay. Anything
Yeah,
else
I
about
just did a spot check, and I went there this afternoon, and yeah, you bring in your valid COVID certificate, and showing that you've had at least one shot and some state issued ID. You fill out a form, and you get a little. They don't have photo ID anymore. They have like a little zebra code um, that you put on your wrist.
Okay.
But it is open and it is free, so the price is right. And even if the services are limited,
Okay. And they will start opening, hopefully, they will start opening more programs as we go along. But we have to go by the guidelines and to be safe for everybody. Okay. So
Miss
that's the
Andrews,
seminar. Yes.
I had, I guess, one question about the rec center, because with our public safety committee, we sometimes talk to the YCOs, the youth coordinating officers or youth community officers, and they've been doing sports activities here in Brower Park. But they were saying that it's hard to get indoor space at the rec centers because that's controlled by parks, and the two different city agencies don't work together. So I said it's something that I'll bring up in this meeting. Maybe we can do some advocacy there to say, okay, in the colder months, they still want to keep programming up with the young people. And that's the only indoor large space in the area. So maybe we can see if we can help the YCOs get some youth activities going on inside.
Okay. Well, I think there's a lot of pushback now because they're keeping their program limited. So we have to find out what is the CDC rule. They did open the after school program So we have to see if they're going to open up that for you, so we can bring that up to Mr. Gross and Ms. Ogles and see what they say. Or even if we have to go to the next level with the Parks Department at the mansion and talk to Marty Marr, who's the Brooklyn Brooklyn commissioner. He would know more about that. So put that in the chat. Just to remind me something that I can follow up on, and that we can by the next meeting maybe have some more information about that. Okay, so we'll work together. Know people there inside out. Some of them I've known for years, so we can get something worked out. Okay, once we know the rules about the CDC, what they're saying about the children playing together inside. Okay, all right. Okay, thank you for that. All right. So now we're gonna go to the Friends of reports. Mrs. Henry, you're first up, Broward Park. Are
Sorry,
you
I
on
was,
mute? Oh,
I was
okay.
still typing my thing in the chat.
Okay.
Yeah, Friends of Broward Park had a very active summer, if I don't say so myself. We helped participate in the One Crown Heights Festival. We've had programming pretty consistently. We did a science reading program where community members donated books to children, and then the kids read them along with an online reading program, and then came into the park and did science-related activities based on what was in the books. So that was a successful program that we had, and we're just trying to remain active and keep the park safe and going. We did not meet in August. We usually meet the last Tuesday in August, but we will be having our meeting in September, the Friends of Broward Park. So everyone's welcome to attend. We're on Facebook, Instagram. We're still trying to get our website updated. But you can definitely get notifications from us on Facebook and Instagram.
What day you usually meet on, and what week? Is it?
It's Miss Dorothy. I always want to say the last Tuesday, but it's actually the fourth Tuesday, because sometimes there's 5 Tuesdays in a month, right? So our next meeting is September 28th over Zoom. Yes. Still doing Zoom.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah. Oh, and we did Juneteenth. How could I forget Juneteenth? That was
Right.
Like big and wonderful and great this summer. So that will hopefully be an ongoing community event as well.
Do we need to work earlier, because I think we had a little problem with getting permit for the police to do the police mount, and there was something else you didn't get the approval of. Is that something moving forward that they're not going to budge on, or do we need a time thing to do it early?
We requested the mounted police early, and at one point I heard it was approved, and then another point it was just like no. So I don't know that the timing was the issue, or if it was just they did not want to participate in that event. Because there's also a community member who is a mounted police officer, and he was all for it, and then he's like, nope, it didn't get approved. So yeah. It's and there was some criticism saying how, police and their horses have been used to, harm Black people. So maybe it's not the right event to participate in, and that as well. So I don't know if something like that came out.
So that probably something like a it's not going to be any progress with that if you try again next year. Okay.
I mean, I'll try again. I don't know. Different people had different opinions about it, and ultimately they didn't come. But NYPD,
it might have had to do with staffing and reassignment of officers, because that's what happened with the regular NCO meetings that were supposed to happen. They were all rescheduled, and then they didn't happen because of the staffing with the NYPD. Yeah. So there's that possibility.
Okay.
Don't know.
I think they had the NCO meeting. It was rescheduled, but they didn't send out the new date. And I just was randomly walking, you know, I live on the block, so I walked through the park and I saw the big NYPD tent, but I was going somewhere. So on my way back home, I stopped and talked to the like 3 officers that were left there. And they were like, yeah, we rescheduled. And I'm like, well, community board didn't know about it. So thanks for letting us know.
Okay.
So we have
All
to
right.
try and make sure we keep those lines of communication open.
Very good. What happened with the New York Pride? Did y'all have the Pride picnic?
We had the Pride picnic. That was, I think, maybe a week or 2 after Juneteenth. That was a nice, well-attended event. We did lawn games. We had story time. Story time in the park has been going on, although the Brooklyn Public Library staff was saying it was getting a little too crowded to make them comfortable, especially with the rise in Delta variant cases. So now it's independent reading in the park where the library is bringing books out to the park and you can kind of take the book and go in your own area, read the book, and then return it to the staff on site, as opposed to everyone sitting together and listening to a story in a crowd. Yeah, so it's still continuing, just in a different way now that COVID cases and numbers are going back up.
Okay. Yeah, I understand that. Anything else, or anybody have any questions for Ms. Henry about Broward Park, or any comments? I just wanted to mention, because it was sometime in June, or I think later May or June, there was a lot of complaints about some activity going on, criminal activities going on in the Broward Park. So Mr. Thornton, Mark, he contacted me to see what we can do to try to have control over the stuff that was going on during the summer. So we reached out to Marty Mark. I reached out to Marty Mark. He answered the phone. I mean, he didn't answer, but his assistant connected me to him directly to the Brooklyn commissioner. And they were saying, well, the PEP officer is not in charge of the criminal action. We have to go to NYPD. But there are some plans to increase the lighting in the area that may help, especially at night. Because I know some of the situations may have happened during the day, and that might be one of the situations that might help control or deter some of the criminal acts that is going on in Broward Park. So that he was pleased with that answer. So Mr. Thornton thought that was helpful. But we have to go and reach out more to NYPD, and the committee there and the public safety NYPD to get some type of understanding that can we get more people checking that area more at night, and to try to cut down on some of this activity. So that's a discussion that we have to have with the public safety and the NYPD. So we may have to, invite them, I think maybe at the next meeting, and have Mark and somebody from NYPD come to our meeting so we can discuss this and see what we can do to help cut down on this situation. Okay, so I just wanted to give you a heads up. We did meet with Mr. Marr, the commissioner for Brooklyn, and he is trying to work with us to help try to resolve some of the problem, but he can't, help us with everything because the criminal part, he said you have to do that with NYPD. The PEP officers are not responsible for that part. Okay?
Did
Yeah,
I recall?
and
Go ahead. Somebody with Greg
This is
and Marvin. Greg, what you wanted to say?
Well, I just seem to recall at the community board meeting last Thursday that Mark Thurton had mentioned something about increasing the wattage of the lights
Okay.
in the park, upgrading to get more illumination. Was
Yeah,
that my
that's what I'm saying.
recollection?
They're going to increase that. Yes, they're
Yeah,
going to increase
okay.
that. Mm-hmm. And Marvin, you say something?
I'm sorry,
yes, this is
my smoke detector is going off, and excuse me. Not
Oh, okay.
fire, just some burnt rice.
Okay.
I was going to say that we have the temporary light at the corner of Brooklyn Avenue and Park Place. However, yes, the high wattage lights need to come in throughout the park.
Right. Okay. So they're working. They do have funds for that. They say that they are working on that part, and so that was going on even before we talked about doing that. So we've been talking about increasing the light for at Broward Park. Let me take that back. We wanted the lights in the Broward Park to be increased for a long time, but now for some reason they do have the funds. They're going to start working on that. They may be working on that soon. So that's one of the things that will help the situation. Anybody else have any comments or questions about
Yes, I do. This is Michelle Marcus. Can you hear me?
Yes, Michelle, go ahead.
Yes, I've been living in the neighborhood for over 50 years plus. And one thing I would like to say in terms of publicizing any events in our community is very slim and next to none. And this is one of the biggest pet peeves that we in the community are echoing, that if there's a community event, our just right on the block, people don't know about it. Recently, we had the National Night Out Against Crime in June, and there was was it June or July? I forget it. There was no publicizing.
August.
Just right on St. Mark's, which is across the street from the park.
Okay.
And this is a big pet peeve of our community because we get the information after the fact.
Okay.
There was at one point there were helmet give outs for the bicycles, and the kids that have grown up in the community or live on the block, they were not privy to any of this a free giveaway.
Right.
And then also, that was just one of the biggest pet peeves that we are just not privy to whatever's taking place in our own backyard. So that's something that we would like to see if they can do a little more publicizing and maybe hanging up flyers in the different buildings along St. Mark's and not the day of, because that really doesn't give a person enough time to participate.
Right.
And so that was one of my statements that I would like to make.
One of your things you want to talk about. That's good. I understand. Because everybody don't look at the community. Because the community board sends the members a lot of information, and then the public, everybody else in the community may not know. So we do need to
and not
pass
everybody is privy to having a computer or the internet.
Right. Exactly.
And so we just can't assume that everybody's techno savvy as well.
Exactly.
And
one of the things that we talked about, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I was saying, well, how did we do it years ago? It was always word of mouth. Before we had cell phones and you went to the churches, you called on the phone. A lot of people think that even though with social media is very huge, but a lot of people just are not savvy or they just don't participate.
Exactly. I do promote that we start to have more passing out flyers or having something or somewhere. One of the things that I suggested years ago was having those neon signs that you have that would be connected, like it's like up in the air that they can mount up, and then the parks department can put in, or like send in, we send out information what's going to happen in the park, and they get permits anyway, so they know stuff that's coming up, so they can put that stuff on that neon sign and say, "This what's coming up," the flashing, something like that. We talked about. We never got to step one with that, but that might be something we need for like St. John's and for Broward Park to let us know, the community know when they walk by, oh, this is coming up. Let's plan to go. So maybe we need to have a conversation. I don't know what you guys think about that. A conversation of can we get this done, through the parks, and be one of the projects, capital projects. They may say you might need fundings from your elected officials, and then we'll have to just ask the elected officials and see what they can do. But what do you think about that? To have this neon, the sign that's flashing, the things, activities coming up for the week or the month, and while you're walking by, you can see this stuff.
Yes, absolutely. And then, like I said, also in reference to just posting up some type of flyer
Right.
in each building so people of the community will know what's taking place and not finding out after the fact when they see other people that's not a part of the community taking part of something, and this is right in our own backyard, and it's just like, oh, that would have been for us to know about it.
Well, I would say that more people in the community need to volunteer like we do. That could you need somebody to do this work of passing out, designing, and also distributing the posters. You need hand people to do that. And the one thing that's consistent as far as the Crime Night Out is a national program, and it's always the first Tuesday of August. So if people are really interested in Crime Night Out, that's once a year, and it's always the first Tuesday in August.
And yes, well, I volunteer for the event most of the time. You usually see me there too as well. And I'm sure you saw my face on every billboard and commercial, on every channel and a commercial. But I'm just saying, for some of the people that, they work day in and day out. They go to work when the sun is down, and they go to work before the sun comes up, and they come home when the sun is down. And so a lot of times it's just to be able to have that time to be able to do it is very difficult. And so or maybe they have a loved one that can bring children over and say, okay, well, our children can participate because I'm at work. Nowadays, you have families that are working more than one job. So they, just the dynamics are a little bit different. But just to be able to know about what's taking place, then people can prepare and say, well, maybe I can take off and participate with something in my community.
And we need to be proactive, because when I get flyers in my building, I'm a co-op, they have a little thing that you can pin up all kinds of signs. And every time I get something, I try to just let the people in the building know this is coming up. This is coming up. So you all need to be proactive in a sense, and you need to have a flyer that the general people can see. Don't know if it's going to stay up, because some people might destroy them, because we had situations where you might want to put something up and people take them down.
But the building management in my building, they take them down. They make their staff members take them down. But I think, like you said, if someone lives in a building and they speak to the super or they speak to the staff members and saying, hey, do you mind if we put this up, then they'll leave it. Right. But if it's somebody random outside, or maybe you just should have a liaison that they can ask if they can put them up without them being removed.
And then we need to find out from the Parks Department, what is the best way we can generate information, spread out information. Can we put things on tape it up by the gate? Can we do things by the door, by the tree?
No, you cannot.
No, see, that's the thing.
It's public space and it's considered litter, so they will take it down. Wow. And even Friends of Broward Park, who we work with the park, they complain sometimes that we put too many flyers up because wind, rain, things blow off, and then they have to clean it up, right? So they have like the one billboard thing on the actual park house. And then, maybe the day before an event, if it's a larger event, we can post on the signs outside on the perimeter of the park. But it's considered litter, so you really
that's why it was difficult. That's why I thought, because I know one time that they put signs up and they were taken down. Yeah. So
and the community board will print flyers, but that's one thing to say that the community board will print it. Who's distributing those flyers is a different story, right? Because what person is walking through the streets, hanging flyers and things like that. You know,
That's why I
For
say
my
you have to be
event, that's
it's
what I used to
volunteers.
do. Yeah.
Can I jump
take
in
If
really
I'm
care
quick?
of your
setting an event,
own
that's what I
area.
used to do.
I just want to jump in really quick. So coming from council, so this is Kim Robinson with Councilmember Samuel's office. And one of the complaints I get from constituent is that there's a lot of papers that either posted or gets blown into their area and they're ticketed for it. So I just want to put that out there. It does. When it comes down, many times they'll just rip it down, it lands and it flies in front of someone's house, and that individual is now issued a ticket. So it's challenging when you talk about posting stuff outside on different areas. So
That's why I thought about that neon. I'm stretching it far about this dream. So, but you know, we've done it before and things have worked out for us. So, that sign, that neon sign, that is
And
not
this
going to
way
make a
it
mess.
takes paper. Yeah, that's a great idea.
Yes. So, we will, draft this
And maybe
question
on
up
both
and I'll
ends
reach
of the
out.
park. Then this way,
Yeah.
if you have it on both ends of the park, depending on which side a person comes in, they will be able
Yes.
to be privy to whatever that's taking place in the
Right.
park.
But when we say that, that comes about money. So we have to
Yeah.
decide. You know, they're going to say it's a capital project, and if they have the money to do it, they'll fund it. But otherwise, we'll have to either go to the borough president, and or sometimes the borough president work with the city council together, and they have the money, so we can get this accomplished. But I think
What
this is the new world. This is the new way to make sure people get information.
Absolutely. My question to you is that, does one price something, or and say, okay, this is what it costs, and we need to. Is there any private funders that maybe would fund, to say, okay, well, they're going to be $1,000 each, and maybe you get a private funder if the city is not able to provide, or would it be better to have the
That
city
would be something
provide
up to
it?
the committee to reach out to see if they can find private funders. But we always try to go through the city first, see what they have, see what the city council have available. They do have other little what you call it, scholarships, the little things you can apply for. And one time we did get money. Dorothy, remember we got money to do the planters because we applied for that particular grant. We can look for those grants that we can maybe fit that in to say it's important that we have the information. I don't know how that worked in, but we did get granted money one time before because we wanted planters for Sit Down Recreation Center, and we got the money and they got the planters. So we have to look at all of the avenues and all of the little ways that we can try to get this done. Let's try with the Parks Department first and the City Council if we have to, and see, and the Mayor's office, and see if we can get some agreement to get that done with both of the parks. We're gonna try to fight for St. John's, and because St. John's have an overwhelming when they're in full capacity, they have so much that goes on, and sometimes you don't know until the last minute because a lot of stuff is going on inside and people don't know. So I think that we're gonna put Broward Park first because you brought it up. So but in addition, can we get something for St. John? So let's see what we can do.
Okay, that sounds awesome.
I was
I think
wondering
Broward
if
Park would be
Friends of
out
Broward
of the
Park.
two. If they said we need one, we could get one. I think Broward would take precedence because it's an open area, and St. John is a building. You can go inside and get the information. So if we have a choice and they say we can do one, we're gonna put Broward Park as the most needed one at the moment.
Yeah, I believe Miss Daly had a question.
Oh, Miss
Oh
Dale,
yeah,
please.
I was gonna say, well, first I was gonna suggest if I don't know how you can get stuff on the like NYC link boards, but maybe that'd be, those are already like neon billboards on the sidewalk. I don't know where the closest one to Bauer Park is, but that might be something to look at. And then the other thing I was just wondering if Friends of Brower Park is going to have a bulb planting event in the fall. I could help out too if you were thinking about it. Yeah.
Miss Henry.
please send us an email at contactus@friendsofbrowerpark.org. I'll put the email in the chat. We'll get you signed up, and we would love that suggestion.
St. John's Park is going to have a fall planting as well. I'm having a My Park Day on October 16th, and so I did order the bulbs, you know, to have the fall planting as well, that the Partnerships of Parks is giving away.
Oh, okay.
So,
I was coming to you next, but St. John. So you report. So we finished with Broward Park. Okay. So go ahead, Ms. Casey. Let's talk about your St. John Recreation. Friends of St. John Recreation.
Yeah, we're going to have a My Park Day, October 16th. I have a rain date for the next weekend as well. So I did order some bulbs, so we're going to be doing a fall planting as well. So Miss Gailey, if Miss Andrews, if you get her number out of the messaging, because we know that I'm not online, that would be wonderful if she wants to help with St. John's Park as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
So, Miss Dana, can you put your contact information, your email there for us? I see what I see Miss Henry information, but can you put your information, please?
Is Miss Gailey a board member?
No, she's a community member.
Okay. What about Miss Benz or Miss Buchanan?
Buchanan is the community board, yes.
And what about Miss Benz?
Miss Benz? Miss Benz?
Yes, hi.
Are you on the community board?
No, I'm not.
Okay, she's a community member. Okay. I know Miss Buchanan is. Okay. All right. So we anything else for St. John? What's going on? You have any future plans or some other things going on?
Yeah, there's some more things that I would like to get done. Maybe a facelift to the benches and things like that, but I have to clear it with the liaison over there because you just can't pick up paint and start painting. And I want to check out. It was something over there, the last one that I had. It's over going toward the baseball field. I have to check with the gardener in terms of that, but pretty much just the fall planting and the My Park Day. But I'm thinking I'm going to have some vendors. I'm going to try to get vendors at the My Park Day.
Okay.
You know,
so
make
to get a permit for that for the vendors. You know, I think you need a permit, right, for the vendors.
I don't think so.
I think so.
Yes,
I
you
mean,
do.
it's My Park Day is something vetted by
Yes, you do.
the Parks Department, but that other part is different.
Maybe I need a permit inside, but not on the curb, not outside of the park.
I think we did. When we did
Yes,
the stuff
you do.
in front of the building, we had to get permit. So one way or the other, you still have to get permit. You don't just send the vendors out there on the curb. You have to
vendor. I mean, like maybe a COVID van or something.
You're still just reach out to the parks, please, and let's see what what you plan to do, and see what you need to do. Okay, we don't want to just put people out there because I know when we had our awareness day, we had things to the curb. We still had to get a permit
You're
for
right.
that. So, yes. Okay.
Well, I'll check. What about Miss Hippie? Have you had any vendors at Broward?
When you say vendors, what do you mean? Because
like
you cannot sell.
Like the Health Plus van, something like that.
Right. I mean, a van on the street is not the same on park property. That's how you can kind of get around those things.
Right.
But my concern was when you were saying vendors, like people selling, because you're definitely not allowed to sell in there.
Okay. On the street, on the street itself, that's the police. Now, what are you talking about? On the street or on the curb? Because we're talking about on the street. That's just definitely
right. That's what I'm saying. The vehicle will be parked on the street.
Well, that's the police department. You have to get a permit from them for on the street because you are interrupting the parking of the community. The community has to know this. So you definitely have to get a permit from the. It won't be the parks, but it will be the NYPD.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So the NYPD, they'll waive the fee for the street
Community
parking.
board.
Um, and they can give you signs to say don't park here and stuff like that. But talk to the community affairs officer, Jean Bart.
Michelle. Make sure
Yeah.
Michelle. She knows the ins and outs on that.
Right. Community
No,
affairs officers can help you with that, though. Yeah.
and I think that somebody wants to come into my event, my park day, with a Health Plus table and shopping bags, just saying that they need a permit for that.
Just let them know. They already know that you're doing Islam parking, right? You already spoke to the parks.
Yeah.
Okay. Just let them know. In addition to that, these other vendors are going to be there. Just let them know, because we don't want to say, well, you're just going to have Islam parking. You didn't tell me you're going to have vendors there. So just let them know that this is the total plan for that day.
Right. So I would suggest getting, you have your It's My Park Day event, which is beautifying your park, cleaning your park, all of those kind of activities. So they give you insurance for that. However, then you contact the Parks Department for a general special event permit,
Right.
which gave the fee for you and everything like that, as long as you're not trying to sell or serve food. But you should have the
Right.
park permit
Right.
for just having activity.
Right. This is not my first My Park event.
Okay.
It's not my first one.
In the park.
No, this is not my first cleanup or my first My Park.
Did you have vendors with them when you did it? Now, we're not talking about It's My Park. It's My Park is no problem with that. I'm talking about the park that you talking about. We want to place vendors on the
Yes,
park.
but I'm not talking about selling anything.
It doesn't mean by selling. It's just about the insurance and all of that stuff. You have to let them know. It depends on what you're doing.
Yes.
Okay? Okay. It's not about the money. It's about the insurance. Okay. Anything else with that? Regina, you good, right? Anybody have any questions or suggestions for Regina?
I do.
Who's that?
This is Geraldine Buchanan.
Okay, go ahead.
I have a group established 8 or 9 years ago on St. Mark's between Kingston and Albany, where the playground is in the middle of the block. And through the years, I've worked with the district manager and her staff, and it was determined years ago that it would be a mobile site and it would be cleaned daily because of the numerous hanging outs that take place on this block. And everything is overgrown in the playground area. We have to call sometimes to have the trash picked up. And it's really disappointing considering how much work we all put in as a group. And at some point, it just became a situation where a lot of people did not feel comfortable even going downstairs with their children because of what goes on in this playground. Also, no money has been allocated to this site since 2002 because St. Mark's was budgeted underneath Brower. And Brower got all the money, we got nothing, and it took 3 years ago or 4 years ago for them to come and do a refresh, which was essentially just repainting the equipment. Nothing else was done. So my question to that end, is, how can we get information about what's allotted for the budget for parks and this park site?
So we have to go to the Parks Department and promote a capital project. And this is one of the things. Now, every year, let's move a little further backwards. Every year we have our budget report. Now, our budget, tells us this is what we want. This is what we have, and this is what we want to have done for the Parks Department to do for us. So that would be one of the things we need to include in that budget report. Okay, so can you send me some type of summary on that, what you would like done in that park, so we can have it phrased right when we do the budget report? That's one thing. And then the next thing, we have to reach out to the parks and say, the super, we call that a super block. I remember when they did that upgrade, call it a super block, playground block. So I remember when they did the upgrade on it. So we need to have a conversation. At the next meeting, I want to try to bring the person, we used to have somebody very fluid that used to come to our meetings from the Department of Parks that will answer your questions and will give us updates on all of our projects. That communication has been broken, so I'm trying to get that back. So we have somebody from the New York City Parks Department at our meetings to give us updates and to answer questions and see what we can get done, like your situation. So what we need to do, like I said, to start off with, can you just um, send me, I can give you my email address. It's just my name, GlindaAndrews@gmail.com. So it's a very simple email address. I spell my name with an I, so that's GLINDA, Andrews@gmail. I'll put it in the chat.
I already put it in the chat for you, Miss Andrews.
Okay, thank you.
I have it. I have it to your email from the meeting notifications. So
Okay,
I can send you that information.
Give us a summary of that so we can start working on that and reaching out to the parks and see what we can get done. And then in the meantime, I'm going to get somebody here to come consistently every month. If they could get somebody here, if one person can't make it, somebody else can make it, to come to our meetings to give us updates on our parks and our capital projects. Okay? So
okay.
Let's start working on it now. And, they probably will get with some money. They might say you have to go to your elected official to pinpoint that particular project, or that money for that particular project. To earmark it. That's the word. Earmark it for that particular project. Okay?
What's the location? I didn't hear the location of that park.
St. Mark's between Kingston and Albany. It's a block east of the Children's Museum, right around the corner from Prospect.
It's right by the.
It's designated as a super block, and it doesn't go through. Right. It was basically, there's no traffic through. There's parking,
yes,
and then a playground, and then more parking. So it was done back in the 70s or 60s or something, right?
So
Yeah,
you send
Bobby
that to
Kennedy,
me, and
that was one of
reach out to
Bobby
the Parks
Kennedy's
Department and
projects.
start that complaint and see where we go from there. Okay.
And she has an organization for the park. She has a park group.
What happened?
Yes.
She said she has a park group.
Yes. That a group there's a committee that's in charge of maintaining that super block playground.
It's Friends of St. Mark's Children's Playground.
Oh, I didn't know what the Friends of. So you should be okay. Can you put that in the chat, please? Oh, there it is. I see it. All right.
Yes, I personally think that all the parks should be funds should be distributed evenly. She said Brown was getting all the money.
It doesn't work like that. Evenly, it doesn't work like that. That's not how it works. It goes by the need of what is needed. They don't say, "Oh, we're gonna give everybody a certain amount and just divide it up." No, it doesn't work like that. When you're doing a capital project, those monies are allocated for that particular capital project. And if they only have a certain amount of money in their budget,
I'm just going to interrupt you for one moment.
Yes.
I was informed by Marty Mayer that St. Mark's Playground was under the budget line item for Brower up until maybe 3-4 years ago. So that's what I was told by the commissioner. So we had no line item. And they recently removed it and gave it its own line item, but no funding.
Okay. So we have to get the funding now. So that's what I'm saying. It's usually when you do capital projects, even though that's under the umbrella of St. John, those capital projects are like earmarked to a particular project you're doing in a particular park.
Right.
That money, when they get $5 million to do, when they did the St. John Recreation Center and they did the field over or whatever, it was what 10 million. I was some million. There was so many millions of dollars that was earmarked for that capital project. Okay, so now we need something in addition to St. John that's under the umbrella of St. John, the super block. Now we want something for the super block, and we're going to complain and we're going to say we need funding for this, blah blah blah, for the super block. Even if it's under the funding, under the umbrella of St. John Recreation and Broward, we want the elected officials, we want the mayor, or we want the Parks Department to will provide funding for this particular capital project. So this is what we're going to work on now. I didn't realize that they weren't maintaining. Well, I kind of realized it. When I walked the block, it just like it wasn't upkeep. It was kind of like, yeah, I saw the difference there. So we want more than we want two things. We want safety for the children. We want the upgrading of the park, and those two things. So we may have to get to the police department for the safety part, or they have to get a fenced off something that say that this is only for children, and have a sign that say if you're not accompanying a child, you cannot go inside this fence. That's kind of like the idea of what they have in the other parks, in the play area for the children. So one guy was approached because he didn't have a child over at Broward Park. And they told him he couldn't sit there. That doesn't happen all the time, but there was approach to say if you don't have a child by the playground, there's other benches all over the other parts of the park that you can sit. Not if you're. So some people, it's innocent. I can't read my book by the children. No, you're supposed to be sitting in the other area. So it's supposed to be understanding, but it's not. Okay.
Yeah.
So we have a lot to do.
Ms. Dorothy had a question.
Go ahead, Dorothy.
Yeah, I was under the impression that super blocks, when they were designed, there was federal funds allocated for the maintenance of those super blocks. And
I think the last time they got funding, like she said, in 2002, they got funding to do that from the city, not from the federal.
I'm talking about federal money because Bobby Kennedy did this business with this particular super block.
We have to look into that because I'm quite sure the last time they had that presentation, it came from the city, and I have to look into that. So let's see.
No, she is correct. In the 60s, it was federal money. Anything recent was city money.
Okay.
And the last time St. Mark's received any funding, there's a plaque in the playground, was 2002.
I remember that. I remember. I was on the community board then. I remember.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're gonna follow up with this to see what we can do to try to at least start improving the parks and see what we can do about the maintenance of people, the people that surrounds the park that is not so undesirable. Put it that way, undesirable hanging around the park that deter the people from having their children, enjoy the playground. So we have two folds of this. Okay. Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't realize we really, it was so long ago that the last time you guys got money.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for your time, and I'll definitely follow up and speak with the district manager. And get back to you and definitely let you know what she has to say.
Right. Okay.
Thanks.
Okay. Great. Okay. So, Regina, you're finished with your report, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. If I could get any vendors, whether it be the COVID or the Health Plus or Downstate or whatever, I'll go through the proper channel.
Okay. Okay.
If you need help, let me know. I'm willing to volunteer.
Thank you so much, Ms. Marvin.
Yeah.
And I will be there to help. Now, you just said, let me go back for one more time. You said the other project you wanted was painting the
Yeah, the benches. I mean, it's a lot of work. I'm listening at you talk about the funding going over, everything under the umbrella of the recreation center. But there's so much to be done in St. John's Park in terms of on the basketball court, the benches that's there, they're peeling. The benches in the children's playground, they could be repainted. It's a number of things for this money to come down every year. And just like Ms. Buchanan with the St. Mark's Park, which I never even knew about, 2002, the last time the park, we're talking 20 years. I don't even know, where's the money going?
Yes.
There's a lot to be done in St. John's Park.
Because you know what it is? Sometimes they're not going to do anything improvement unless you bring it up again and tell them, look, we need more money now to do upgrades. But let me just tell you about the St. John painting. We did, Thomas and I, and with St. John, when we had friends at St. John, we were provided paint with no problem. They gave us the paint, and we painted the benches in the gym. We painted that area in the gym. That was probably the last time that was painted. It took us a while to go around that whole section on that floor, but they will give you paint.
But that's within the building. But when you step outside, even in front of St. John's Rec, and it's really, it's really festive how that area where they used to have the beautiful flowers and the nice garden going on within that gate, that's all grown up like a wilderness.
Right.
I mean, Partnership for Parks will also provide paint for your It's My Park Day to do painting as an It's My Park Day activity.
Yes.
And then I don't know how often the gardener comes to the St. John's Park, but you can check in with them and
it should be at least once a month.
That's where we got the paint from, Partnership of Parks.
Yes, Ms. Henry, I understand about getting in touch with the garden and different things like that over there at my farm. I know the gardener. I'm talking about
just get the point, just gather some people.
The gate that's in front of the rec center, which has nothing to do with the park. They don't even want you to mention it or bring it up. It's grown up like a wilderness.
Well, there's a beautiful little garden there. You notice the raised beds that one of the members of the Parks Department has created those raised beds, and I just noticed a big sign in front of them talking about providing food for cooking at the new kitchen that was renovated in St. John's Rec. So there is, someone's championing those raised beds. If there's somebody to champion something, these things can get done.
And then we have to know this is after COVID. We still a lot of things were just shut down. They didn't do anything to any of the parks. So the construction was just closed for a whole year. So we're trying to revamp everything now so we can get back to that. We're getting late in the hour, so let me get to Greg. Greg, can you make a report about Imani Gardens?
Yeah, sure. We've had am I muted? No, not. All right. Yeah, we had a youth intern program that's just ended a couple weeks ago. We had 3 youth working in the garden once a week for 5 hours a day on Wednesdays, and they planted a lot of vegetables and helped us out in the garden very well. And it's a really nice program. We're also continuing to compost twice a week, drop off food scraps. And we're also donating our food at the food pantry at the Grace Tabernacle across the street once a week, and from 11 to 2. So lots going on, and yeah, that's basically it at the moment.
You don't have any events planned to come up with the social distancing type events coming up, right?
Well, the Crown Heights Tenant Union is having their picnic there this Saturday, I believe.
Crown Heights
Tenant Union. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, COVID has obviously been a problem for everybody, and it's we thought it was over, and now it's not. So it's just kind of got everything kind of in a state of suspended animation, I guess.
Okay. to cut back on time, I'm going to be each committee had to submit their vision, purpose, and the goals to the chairperson and to the community board. And Greg and I had worked on that information and provided it to the community board. I am going to send that information to you guys, and you guys look at it. Okay. If you want to make an adjustment or add something to it, just send us suggestions of it. Also, we would like your ideas, what you want this committee to strive for this year. We're not going to just be talking. Let's have some goals and some other things that we want to try to reach for, try to do to accomplish in these parks, in these gardens, and what do we really want to see happen, and what we want to try to have some type of event. They always say they want each committee to have some type of event. Think about that for the next meeting and bring that forward to the next meeting. So I'm going to send you the goals and the vision and the purpose that we submitted to the chairperson and the community board. You can have your suggestions and your ideas about what should be added or changed. But we had a deadline. We had to send something in. So we have something there. We can always revise it and change it a little bit if we feel that, and then we'll discuss it at the next meeting. And then if we have some changes that have to be made, we can do those changes and then send an update. Okay. So that with that being said, we have any other new business people want to bring up? Something that we haven't talked about? Or any announcements? No
Okay, so
announcements?
Mr. Andrews,
Yes.
can we I'm gonna go over the attendance again, and if I didn't get anyone's name, please let me know. So,
Yes,
of course, I have you, Miss Andrews. I have Mr. Todd. I have Miss Dorothy. I have Miss Boyd. I have Miss Morris. I have Kim Robertson. I have Dominica Roberts, Marva Henry, Mary Daly, Sophia Benz, and Jerry Buchanan. Is anyone else here?
Anybody else that didn't get called? Okay. It's very important that we have the precise list, because that makes a difference, whether you're community or member or committee members, it makes a difference. So we want everybody to be counted for that they were there. Okay. Now our next meeting will be October the 5th. That's the first Monday. We always meet the first Monday of the month, except for this month. Usually on September, I usually have the second week because of the holiday, and I was out of town. There was just so much going on. And then November, we're going to do the second week in November, second Monday in November because of Election Day. Just so, people doing some stuff.
Monday or Tuesday?
I mean Tuesday. Sorry, it used to be Monday, but it's Tuesday now. It's Tuesday. Tuesday. All right, so I'm sorry, the first Tuesday of the month, except for this month and November. Everything else is going to be the first of the month, the first Tuesday. So I'm going to give you the list. I sent the dates to the community board, and I will forward that list to you, so you'll have a list. You can, print it up or put it somewhere, and just know that, you're gonna get the invite. They don't have the invite until maybe 2 weeks or something before, because we don't know the link yet until then. But you'll have the dates, and you'll know that we always meet those dates and starting at 6:15. Okay. Spread the word. If anybody else have any complaints about parks in the area in the community board, and they want to share, say something, invite them to the meeting. You can follow the links to them if you have to. Okay. Thank you everybody who came to do the report, and um,
Just one,
I think Mr. Roberts is gone now, but thank Mr. Roberts for coming also. Okay.
just
You don't have
remembered
any-
two things, Linda, if I could just add on at the very end here. There were two new food scrap drop-off sites opened in the parks this past month. One at the garden on Nostrand on Bergen near Nostrand, and the other at an herb garden on Bergen Street out by Rochester, thereabouts. So just so you know, if
Okay.
anybody's interested in dropping off their food scraps.
What was the other one you said? Bergen and Rochester, and then Nostrand.
Bergen and Nostrand. There's the big park there, if you know where it is, on Bergen, between Nostrand and New York.
Mhm. Okay.
Hazel Hurley's over that one.
Okay. Do
Hello.
we have any more comments? Any more announcements? Okay. Well, thank you guys for coming, and the meeting is adjourned. This is 7:46, Regina. And Regina, we're going to ask Julia. It takes about a day or two. Just ask Julia for the recorded minutes, and she will forward it to us, so you can use that as reference when you write into the minutes. Okay, so we'll make sure that you get the recorded ones, so you can always have the minutes recorded.
Yeah, I should be recorded.
Okay.
So we had a nice, productive meeting.
Yes.
We really did. We don't usually go over an hour. Things been going for an hour and a half.
First meeting, so we had 2 months of rest, so we had a lot to talk about. But I just wanted to welcome Jerry. She's one of our new members that's joining the committee. So welcome, Jerry, to the committee meetings. And,
Thank you. I've been on as a committee member with Public Safety, Parks, and officially this year as a Community Board 8 member.
Right. So she's one of our new committee board members. And we thank you, everyone from the community.
Thank you.
First time. Yes, thank you. Come back again and bring a friend.
I will.
Okay?
Have a great evening, everyone.
Okay, have a good one. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye, guys.
Have a good night, everybody. Okay.
Leave. Oh, leave meeting.